Welcome to another episode of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association. My name is Mike Mitchell, Associate Director of Alumni Relations. I'm very excited to welcome a graduate from the MSW program in 1996 here at Salem State, Dr. Hope Watt-Bucci, founder and president of North Shore Pride. Hope, how are you?
I am good, Mike. I am good. Boy, 96. That sounds like, forever ago.
Nah, we're all young at heart these days, Dr. Hope Watt-Bucci. Let me tell you, it is so great to see you. Got to experience Pride once again over the summer, and we'll get into all that a little bit later on. We're really excited to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Lots of great things to talk about.
Thanks.
So first question we always like to ask folks, how did you end up at Salem State? What brought you here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had to go all the way around the world, Mike, to get to Salem State. So I grew up in Manchester by the sea. My wife and I live in my childhood home. And I graduated from high school. I had a scholarship, athletic scholarship to go to college, and I decided not to take it. And I wanted, back then, Manchester by the Sea, which was Manchester then, was and is still, but was much more a very small town. It used to be a summer community. And I thought to myself, I need to get out and see, some of the world and experience some things. I saw people growing up, and it's fine if that's their choice, who stayed and never left. And I thought, no, I really don't want to, be in that situation. And so, and my parents, I grew up a foster kid here in Manchester, so my parents couldn't afford college. And so I thought, well, I'll join the Army, because I've always been very patriotic, even as a little kid. And I was very athletic at that time. And so I thought, that's something I could probably do okay in. And so I joined the Army and was an Army medic and the equivalent of a military social worker. We called them behavioral science specialists. And so I joined the Army and active duty and served for just about 8 years in active duty. And then I came back to this area and actually I started going to college while I was stationed in Germany for as best I could, because, I'd always get pulled out to go to the field or something. So then I continued. I actually went to Fitchburg State and got my bachelor's degree in human services from there. And then started working as a child welfare social worker with MSPCC, Massachusetts Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children, sort of the private end of DSS, if you think about it that way, or what used to be DSS. Now it's Children and Family. And decided that I really wanted, education has always been so important to me. And I really enjoy learning. And so I decided to stay local. And again, using the benefits of, my military service, applied and got accepted to the MSW program at Salem State. I really wanted to focus and hone in on my social work clinical skills. And so they accepted me. So that's how I got to Salem State. And then I went on later to get my PhD from Northeastern University. So I'm a Viking and a Husky.
And I know that, since finishing and getting your PhD, you had come back at one point to be an adjunct faculty member in the school. Is that right?
That is correct. I think one of the questions you asked me was what's one of my favorite memories, I think, of Salem State. And maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but
it's okay.
It sort of melds into that question you just asked. So I had a professor who I had many wonderful, wonderful teachers, professors, really amazing people. And at one time, I remember they asked me if I wanted to lead the class or a portion of the class on a certain project that we were doing. And I did. And as nervous as I was, I found that I really enjoyed that. And so I was able then to do some instructing for the what was then Salem State College, and then got my PhD and everything, and so I taught there for, I want to say, as an adjunct, probably 13 years or so at night, and while I was working full time, and it's one of the best memories that I have. Really amazing, great students, fabulous students.
I think they're the best. I mean, I can't speak for other places. Well, I can speak for a couple, but I think ours are the best.
Yeah.
And so, understanding now that you've had this lifelong commitment to service of others, right? And so part of what I admire of a number of things about you, but I think sort of at the top of the pile, is your organization, your baby, North Shore Pride, which is a fabulous, fabulous organization. We love participating in the parade and festival every year. It's an incredible celebration of the LGBTQ community.
Right.
But can you talk a little bit about what led you to want to start North Shore Pride? Because I know its foundings were in response to some somewhat tragic incidents that had happened. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I actually did some work with LGBTQ youth way back. It was decades ago, but back when NAGLY was just in its infancy, and I remember attending and supporting some of those youth groups when we would have support groups and things like that. So it started there, but I've always been an advocate for people who are marginalized, who are seen as different. Drives me insane, that word. And so I started to notice in my own neighborhood of Cape Ann and the North Shore that started hearing things about incidents of one I witnessed, some young girls, probably 6, 7 years old, walking down the street, passing me, yelling faggot. And I thought to myself, not so mad at them, because at 6, I don't think they knew or had the emotional sort of foundation behind that. And I thought to myself, they had to learn that somewhere. Someone had to teach them that. And then we had some gentlemen in Newburyport that were assaulted for holding hands, and I witnessed again in a restaurant in Gloucester, 2 men were dining, and I use those pronouns because I'm making assumptions. I would generalize, but they were dining, and there was a party that was a large party sitting next to them, and they were being harassed. And as the party left, I remember several of they appeared to be women, walked by these elderly gentlemen and lifted their shirts and made some comment about, maybe you need some of this. And that was it for me. I thought, as I've always said to myself, you need to leave this earth better than when you found it. And I've always lived by that motto. And so I got together, put the word out there. We had a meeting in our dining room with like-minded people. I remember everybody threw in like $5 or whatever they had in their pocket, and North Shore, just enough money to register as a nonprofit organization. And I did the paperwork, and North Shore Pride was born. And it has been 12 years of a mission of education and advocacy on behalf of LGBTQ plus persons here on the North Shore. And we have not looked back. And we are so proud. And I'm so grateful to all of the board members throughout the years, the 12 years. None of us get paid a penny. It's all volunteer. And to say it's a lot of work is an understatement. And I'm so, so grateful to all of those people through the years, all those board members who started with us, the ones who are current with us, and all of the people in between. could never have happened without them. Never.
And I know part of, to your point about it being a heavy lift. I mean, anybody who's ever been to just the Pride Parade and Festival alone, I mean, you have dozens and dozens and dozens of vendors on the common every year as part of Pride Month celebrations, and the parade sees probably, I got to imagine, another 100 groups marching. Just the coordination of that effort alone. But this is a year-round operation for you. It's not just in the month of June. So I know you have advocacy and educational events throughout the year. Can you talk a little bit about what some of those have been?
Sure. We, because of our mission, we always, look to, to develop and expand upon our mission. And so when COVID hit, prior to COVID, we would go out to organizations and companies and whoever would have us, and we'd set up a table or we'd speak about a particular topic, specific to our community. And so once COVID hit, we realized that we couldn't do that anymore, at least not for the time being. And so we went virtual. And so we developed community forums, North Shore Pride community forums. And every month we pick a different topic specific to our community. And the wonderful thing about, going virtual, it's sad that we had to do it because of COVID, but you get to expand your audience to the world. And you also get to expand your panelists to the world. And so, for example, when we did one on pride and what pride means around the world, we had someone from India talk about pride in India, from the UK, from all over the world, panelists. We talked about, one subject was COVID, another was how to protest safely. We did one on transgender violence and how to assist there, all very different topics every month. So we're going to continue to do that no matter what, even though we're back to some sense of normalcy. We're going to continue because it's an amazing way to reach people who maybe can't or don't feel comfortable coming to an event. This is a way that we can help. And then I'm constantly, as is the board, responding to emails, phone calls, texts about needing services. Where do I go for this? What do I do in this situation? Parents call often, email often, wanting to know, their child is transitioning and how do they tell their friends, their adult friends, what to do. I had a neighbor recently who approached me about that. And we're doing, we always participate in the June flag raisings, whether they're accepted by the community or not. Can I tell that story real quick, Mike, or no?
Sure, yeah, if you're comfortable, absolutely.
Sure. In my own town of Manchester by the Sea, where for the last, several years, what was then the rainbow flag went up without incident. And this year, I had to go before the Board of Selectmen, which is standard, but I had to go back twice, and there were protests. We flying this year the progress flag, and a lot of it had to do with the Supreme Court decision about Boston not flying their flag. So we had a big rally on the Manchester Common, and it was amazing the number of people who participated. And I want to thank Liz Banks, who donated a whole bunch of progress flags. And now in Manchester, if you drive around, you'll see a lot of progress flags hanging from people's homes. We were able to win the decision. The veterans organization, local veterans organization, protested. But as you may or may not know, I'm a veteran. As we talked about, I'm a veteran myself. So it was, they didn't want the flag going near the veteran honor roll. They wanted it to be away from the veteran honor roll. But nonetheless, with the support of our community and our town, the progress flag was raised. So very excited about that.
And one of the things that I admire about you, Hope, is that I find you to be a sort of an eternal optimist, right? And so, they say the optimist finds opportunity in difficulty, and it just feels like every time something opportune or incredible learning or growth opportunity comes along, it's like Hope has generally got her finger on the pulse of what's happening, or like leading the charge in terms of making sure the right steps are being taken. And I think, from a personal level, with the work that I'm doing here at the office, I bump into you at events and we see each other in the community and things like that. But every once in a while, I'll get a note, "Hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from you." Yeah. And then every once in a while, it's like, "Hey, Mike, these are some things I'm hearing. Let me know what's going on." And I think that's a testament to you, because you are obviously a member of the alumni board here for many, many years. And you are the namesake of the Alliance's Alumni Award at their end of year celebration every year. And so your commitment to this community, I think, is, if I can say it's unparalleled, I'm going to say it's unparalleled.
You're very kind.
I think that's one of the things I admire and appreciate and respect the most about you, is that, it feels like a calling, right? For anybody that knows you and has had the opportunity to work with you. And that's something I certainly appreciate about you, to say the very least.
Thank you, Mike. You're very kind.
And so, as we think about the benefit of the years since you've left as a student, and you've got this incredible resume and body of work now, looking back on it when you were in your younger years, kind of still finding your way a little bit, do you think there's anything that you would have gone back and done differently if you could have changed anything?
Yeah, I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to go to school, college, university, wherever your additional education is, to be able to go full time and immerse yourself into the culture of your institution. I never got that opportunity because I had to work full time always, through bachelor's all the way, master's, PhD, I worked full time. So I think that's the one thing that I would encourage people, if you're able to do it, because I missed it. And you learn so much more, you establish relationships in a different frame. And I think that's the one thing I'd encourage people to do, if you can. And if you can't go full time, maybe just spend more time immersing yourself in the culture of your college or university community, because you will make connections that will last for a lifetime. A lifetime. I still have connections from, and I'm an old chick, so yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, all right. That's I think that's good, solid advice. So 2 more things before we let you go.
Okay.
Kind of one of our signature questions. As we just touched on a little bit, you have stayed very connected to the college since you graduated. But what does being a member of this community mean to you? Being a member of the alumni community here at Salem?
Yeah, I think pride, I know I have my proud to be back shirt on, but I think it's pride. It really is, because I can be anywhere in the world. And I know we've talked about this at the alumni board meetings. And that was my saddest moment, by the way, when I had to leave the board. That was, oof. But I think pride, I can be anywhere in the world and I see a Salem State logo or something on a hat. And, it's just like, it's almost very similar to being a veteran. If I see someone with a veteran hat on or something, I know I can go right up to that person and talk to them. I've never met them, and we have a connection. And, and I got a PhD at Northeastern University, but I am so more connected to Salem State College and University. And I think it's because of the foundation that Salem State provides. It really, I think they try very hard to provide encouragement, to provide confidence, to make sure, at least my experience was, to make sure that you step out into whatever profession you're going to step out into. I can only speak for the social work group, and be prepared. And so for me, it's pride. Salem State really was the stepping stone for my career, all the way through with the Veterans Administration, and where I ran, a multifaceted component of the VA, and all the way through, to to North Shore Pride. It really, yeah, Salem State was a great foundation for me.
And so to kind of wrap it all up, if folks that are watching or listening are interested in learning more about North Shore Pride and the phenomenal work that you're doing, where can they find you?
Well, you can just email me at president@northshorepride.org. You can always text me. Here we go, 978-808-5451. I'm happy to, you can also send me a message on FaceTime or Insta or whatever, but we'll always get it. And I do want to just emphasize that it does, I hate to use a cliche, but it does take a village. And so I do not do this alone. And I have stepped on the shoulders of giants. And I'm just grateful to Salem State and also to the board of North Shore Pride. For any of you who have ever served on the board, I thank you. I'm so, so grateful, because North Shore Pride could not be what it is now today without any of you. And if any of you out there in the Salem State community or beyond are interested in being a board member or finding out more about North Shore Pride, we're always looking for board members. So, reach out. Love to talk to you.
And we'll put the link to the website in the post description as well. So anybody that's interested will be able to click through. We'll also share this on all of our different socials and tag the organizational account. So anybody that's interested in watching along can click straight through to learn more.
Oh, great.
But Hope, always a pleasure and a treat to spend time with you. Really,
Mike, you're my biggest fan. I swear to God, you're my biggest fan. Besides my wife, I think you're my biggest fan. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you for all you do at Salem State.
It's my pleasure. And we are obviously excited to join you for Pride 2023. And gosh, it sounds funny. It's going to be 9 months from now. It's crazy.
We're already planning, trust me.
Oh, it's going to be here before you know it. I can't wait.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Hope, for joining us. This has been another fantastic episode of It Takes a Viking with Dr. Hope Watt-Bucci. This is the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association. I'm Mike Mitchell, Associate Director of Alumni Relations, Salem State. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Go Vikings.